Welcome to the channel. Today I will be explaining you the first chapter of science of 10th standard. The first chapter is chemical reactions and equations. So now let us look into the textbook. It says that consider the following situations of daily life and think what happens when milk is left at room temperature during summers. An iron tawa or pan or nail is left exposed to humid atmosphere. Grapes get fermented. Food is cooked. Food gets digested in our body. We respire. So, in all the above situations, the nature and the identity of the initial substance have somewhat changed. We have already learned about physical and chemical changes of matter in our previous classes. Whenever a chemical change occurs, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. So now here, what they are trying to say is that a substance is getting changed from one form to another form. So why is this happening? So all these changes are happening only because of something called as chemical reactions. So now what are these chemical reactions? Chemical reactions are those reactions in which the substance is converted from one form to another form by chemical processes. So these reactions are called as chemical reactions. So whatever the examples they have given, the food is getting digested in our body, the food is being cooked, grapes getting fermented, the iron nail getting rusted. All these are happening only because of these chemical reactions. So now I think that you have understood what is chemical reaction. So for better understanding, let us look into the activity 1.1 which is given in your textbook. It says that clean a magnesium ribbon about 3 to 4 centimeter long by rubbing it with sandpaper. Hold it with a pair of tongs, burn it using a spirit lamp or burner and collect the ash so formed in a watch glass as shown in figure 1.1. Burn the magnesium ribbon, keeping it away as far as possible from your eyes. What do you observe? So first of all, what do you mean by ribbon? Ribbon is a piece of cloth which is usually used by girls for tying their hairs, correct? So now magnesium ribbon. So it is a piece of magnesium metal which is consisting only of magnesium atoms. So now we have understood what is magnesium ribbon. Then next one is sandpaper. So usually the sandpapers are used by painters. So before any painter is painting the house wall, he actually uses the sandpaper to clean those walls. So these sandpapers are having silica in them. So now for this activity, you will be taking magnesium ribbon which is about 3 to 4 centimeter long and then a sandpaper. Now the magnesium ribbon, you are rubbing it with sandpaper. After rubbing it with sandpaper, with the help of tongs, you will be taking the magnesium ribbon and burning it using a spirit lamp or the burner. So here the question is, when the magnesium ribbon is burnt and the ash or the powder which is produced is made up of what? It is consisting what? That is the question. And what do you observe when you are burning that magnesium ribbon in the flame? So the answer for this question is given in the next page of your textbook. It says that you must have observed that magnesium ribbon burns with a dazzling white flame and changes into a white powder. This powder is magnesium oxide. It is formed due to the reaction between magnesium and oxygen present in the air. So it is saying that when magnesium ribbon is burnt in the flame, it is giving dazzling white flame. What do you mean by dazzling? Dazzling, the meaning is shining. So when we are burning magnesium ribbon in the burner, the flame out of it what we are getting is shiny white flame. And after being burnt, it is producing a white powder. Now this white powder is called as magnesium oxide. So the ribbon what we had taken, it was only made up of magnesium. From where did this oxide come? Actually oxide means oxygen. So from where did oxygen get added to the magnesium? So it is because of chemical reaction. So when we were burning magnesium ribbon in the flame, in the presence of air, so this oxygen which is present in the air gets combined with the magnesium when burning process is happening, in turn giving rise to magnesium oxide. So this combination or the combining of magnesium with oxygen when burning is happening is called as chemical reaction. So this is an example for chemical reaction. So this is all about activity 1.1. So I think you have understood well about this activity. Now let us move on to activity 1.2. It says that take lead nitrate solution in a test tube, add potassium iodide solution to this. What do you observe? So now when we mix lead nitrate solution and potassium iodide solution, what happens is there is change in color of the solution. Whenever potassium iodide solution is added to lead nitrate solution, we will get yellow precipitate. The solution gets converted completely into yellow color. So there is change in color happening. So this is again happening because of chemical reaction that is taking place between lead nitrate and potassium iodide which is present in the solution. There is another activity given, activity 1.3. Here it says that take few zinc granules in a conical flask or a test tube, add dilute hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid to this. Do you observe anything happening around the zinc granules? Touch the conical flask or test tube. Is there any change in its temperature? So here you are taking the conical flask or test tube. So these two are nothing but like small containers you'll be using in the chemistry labs. So into these conical flask or test tube, you're first adding some zinc granules. After adding zinc granules, you're adding hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. So when zinc granules get reacted with hydrochloric acid or the sulfuric acid, actually there is heat produced out of the reaction whatever is happening. So when zinc is reacting with either hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, a product is formed. During the formation of the product, also there is some amount of heat produced. So therefore, when you touch the conical flask or test tube, there will be difference in the temperature. It will be hot to touch. So these type of reactions are called as exothermic processes or exothermic reactions. So those reactions in which heat is given out, those reactions are called as exothermic reactions. There is another type of reaction called as endothermic reaction. So endothermic reaction is a type of reaction in which heat is taken up or heat is consumed. Only if heat is given by us to that reaction, it will proceed, or else that reaction will not take place. So those reactions which need heat for their further processes to occur, those are called as endothermic reaction, and those reaction which will give out heat during the reaction is called as exothermic reaction. So here activity 1.3, where it is a chemical reaction between zinc granules and dilute hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. It is an exothermic reaction because it is giving out heat. And another one, why it is giving out heat, we can feel the hotness is mainly because of hydrogen gas is being produced. Hydrogen gas is given out. That is why we can feel their hotness in the conical flask or test tube. So whenever zinc granules react with either hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid, hydrogen gas is given out. So this is another example for your chemical reaction. So now let us look into the textbook again. From the above three activities, we can say that any of the following observations help us to determine whether a chemical reaction has taken place. So, when can you say that a chemical reaction has taken place? What are the reasons that you can give? Okay, this substance has undergone chemical reaction. When can a person say that a particular substance has undergone chemical reaction? So there are certain factors or some certain reasons given here. What are the reasons? Change in the state, change in color, evolution of gas, change in temperature. So when a person can see change in state, either it is getting converted from solid to liquid or liquid to gas or gas to liquid to gas. So that time you can say yes, a chemical reaction has taken place in this particular substance. Next, change in color. As we saw in activity 1.2, there is change in color happening because of mixing of two different solution. So when there is some change in color taking place, yes, there is again a chemical reaction happening in that particular substance. Evolution of gas and change in temperature. These two factors we can see in activity 1.3. So as we observe the changes around us, we can see that there is large variety of chemical reactions taking place around us. We will study about the various types of chemical reactions and their symbolic representation in this chapter. So this was all about chemical reactions. In the next class, we'll learn about chemical equations and how they are formed, what are happening in the chemical equations.